All right, before you all get on my case for driving while recording and with the light on, that's for your benefit so you can see my pretty face. But I do need to keep my eyes on the road. First of all, thank you all for watching. Those of you who are still watching, this is another long one, but this is the first long one I've done in a while, rambling. This one is going to be stream of consciousness. Yes, there are things I'm going to say. Before you click away, let me just say a few things up front. 4th of July, my father-in-law died. Moving on from that, not really. I'll talk about that in a second. Maybe that explains, I don't know, something. I don't know if it explains anything. Maybe I've acted like it was nothing, but yeah, part of the reason I'm out driving and recording right now is my wife is, for the last several days, has pretty much been on the phone and dealing with family and dealing with old friends, and my wife has a lot more friends than I do. And they all care about her, and so I'm giving her some space right now. That's part of why I do a lot of these in the car. I just go run errands and get a quick video in. Okay, I will talk about that in a minute. He was a Christian, for those of you who are wondering. But before any more of you click away, there's a couple other things I haven't really mentioned much. I have a Patreon. All right, this is not the big pitch for the Patreon, but I have a Patreon. I've been out of work since Hollywood shut down, right, for the pandemic, and it's kind of ramping back up, but I'm not really the kind of person they're looking for. I'm not going to go into those details, but a lot of things have changed demographically about what the demand is, and I do not fit those categories. So, Patreon will help. Am I in this for the money? What I'm doing? No, I would be doing this if there weren't any potential for money, but I can do it a lot more comfortably if I make money. I'm almost ready to submit for monetization on this channel, but Patreon is something that could happen right away. So if you feel so inclined, if I've made that impassioned plea and it struck your chord with you, go and help me out on Patreon. I'll put the link below. Also, I have another channel. This is my Gideon's Army. It's probably only my Gideon's Army that's watching this. If you know what I'm talking about, you're one of the early comers to this channel, Gideon's Army. But I've had a whole lot of subs since I've mentioned Gideon's Army. A whole lot of maybe there's a lot of new faces out there listening to this that have watched some of my videos but don't know what I'm talking about. Well, if you so much as feel that maybe you might be included in Gideon's Army, then you are. That's how it works. I have another channel. I've been kind of sending people over to that channel in case this one disappears, in case I don't get monetized, and worst case scenario if I get deleted. But that channel is about a whole different subject matter, and I'm going to start posting a few more videos that talk about what's going on that channel. All right, there. I think that's all the business I wanted to take care of up front. Now, my father-in-law, he was a great man. A good guy, Christian guy, and it's just difficult watching. Obviously, I didn't know him as well as the immediate family, and so it's difficult watching them go through this. But he was a Christian, right? And so he is no longer suffering, and he will get a new body. Like, he is perfectly healed now, right? The body that was going to die anyway is no longer causing him pain, and then a transition will come when all of us get new bodies. Every single one of us. I really should turn this light off, but I'm almost to a place where I can just sit and not drive. It's a nice, quiet place that it's kind of out of the way. Thank you all, everyone, for... Well, you're all new friends. That's the way I consider it. Especially those of you who are Christians. This is something I've said in a video before. We have eternity in this medium. You're getting to know me first, because I'm the one on camera and you're the ones watching. But in eternity, we'll have plenty of time for me to get to know you guys. I mean, perhaps some of you before that transition happens, I'll get to know you more. But there's some of you that I've been chatting with and texting with or calling, or it's a big new pool or circle of friends, and that's really the thing I'm most excited about. Is I have been, what's the word, sequestered or secluded, or you may have heard me say undercover, behind enemy lines. I live in a dark blue, one of the darkest blue parts of the world, Southern California, in an elite neighborhood. It just happens to be an elite neighborhood that also has some somewhat affordable housing. I mean, you guys, most people wouldn't consider it affordable, but cost of living differences, etc. But God really opened a door for us to have a way below market place to live in a very upscale part of town. And there's more people over here than I thought. I guess there's night baseball games going on. I'm at a park nearby. So I've been abundantly blessed in my life, but because I live around so many wealthy liberals, it's like there's enough light, I can turn that off. It's like I'm in poverty in the richest part of the world. It just feels that way. Like, my kids go to school with some really, like, why can't we go to Europe for 5 weeks in the summer, every summer? Vacation? What's that? It's just, I come from humble means, and somehow I find myself at dinner parties with executive producers of Vin Diesel movies, going to church with the creator of some of the most iconic sitcoms, like, seriously, Home Improvement, Roseanne. Like, that guy's my mentor. Like the guy who created there's like 3 of them that created those 2 shows is my mentor, right? I mean, it's anytime I want to talk film or screenplay writing with him, let's grab coffee. So somehow I landed in this place, and you might say, wow, that guy's loaded. No, like 90% of people, 99% of people that work in Hollywood are working stiffs, right? Just grunts working a job, going and, if you work on a lighting rig, that's what you do. Every day you go to work, you lift up heavy cables and plug them in, you get your hands dirty, and they say turn on the light, and you turn on the light, and you stand there, and it's not glamorous. It's a job, right? There's a few people that get to write things that end up in actors' mouths that people see. Like, there's a few people that get to be in front of the camera that people recognize. There's a few people get to call the shots. Like, the tiny layer of elites. And everybody else is a working stiff. Like, I sit, for most of my Hollywood career, I sit in a dark room pushing buttons, right? With somebody telling me what to do. Sometimes I get to call the shots. Like, I think this scene or this visual is best, and I'm going to start it here and end it here, and I think this audio cue is perfect right there. That's producing. You get to call the shots, but it's a skill, right? I'm not calling the shots, but I've been blessed to work in an industry that I never thought I would. I was 35 years old when I got my foot in the door as a low, like, if you know anything about the film industry, like the PA, the production assistant, is the lowest rung on the ladder. Lowest rung on the ladder. And I found something that was lower than that to start as a 35-year-old man, right? Most people are deep into a career. Some people are even tenured in their, professions by that time. And I was just getting my foot in the door of the industry that I had dreamed of when I was a kid. People said, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "It's now or never." And it happened, and I ended up winning an Emmy, right? Some people think it's an Oscar sitting on the piano behind me in those videos. It's an Emmy. It's like, but that doesn't mean you win an Emmy. It doesn't mean you make a bunch of money. You just happen to be a part of a team that got a trophy. Go find a job and make some money. And I got sidetracked. So I found something lower than a production assistant to get my foot in the door. And here's a true story, right? This is stream of consciousness. I don't have any notes for this segment. I'm just do a nice long segment for y'all, for the Gideon's army that care, right? If you're bored with this guy who's so full of himself, you're so full of yourself. It's weird reading the comments. Some people bother to leave a comment when they don't like something. It's like, why did you even watch? Like, why do you even take the effort to leave a comment? Like, you're so annoyed. Oh well. But I take, obviously working in Hollywood, you get criticized all the time. It's like whatever. It's impossible to please everyone. I remember the story I was about to tell. Don't worry, I'm not lost. But the criticism is good. It's important. Like, okay, most people love what I'm doing. Most of you watching this now love what I'm doing. And some people just don't like my mannerisms, some tics. Maybe there's something, a look in my eye they just don't trust. Just keep watching. I couldn't be that good of an actor. I'm an actor, but I couldn't pull off, he's not even a Christian, or he's not really a conservative, or he's got some ulterior motive. Well, I do have an ulterior motive because I want to build a Christian base. Not just Christian. If you're not Christian, you're welcome along, but I want to build a base that will pay attention to my other project. Very important project. That's why I do care about the subject matter of this channel immensely. Like, it matters to me. You can have two ideas that don't conflict and love them both. So when I say ulterior motive, it's like, I'm going to do something else that I really love, but I want it to gain attention so that I can point these people to something that's actually more important to me, that I think might be more important to you. And that's the other channel. But getting back to how I got my foot in the door in Hollywood. Why don't I tell that story? How long is this already? Not too bad. All right. Why not? I didn't plan on doing this. Here we go. The job that's lower than a production assistant at age 35. At the age of 35, getting my foot in the door in Hollywood. That ended up me winning an Emmy. So I'd gotten laid off from a previous career. I was a project manager and an estimator for a heavy roadway construction company. And I did that for a couple of years. I did a bunch of other things, but it was like, I need a career job if I'm going to get married. So it was a career kind of job. And the excuse that was used to lay me off was that the market dried up. And it kind of did. We weren't winning a bunch of bids, and the bids that I won were losing money, so I wasn't good. I was still it's like a long training process. Anyway, I can go on lots of tangents. So I got laid off from that job. We had to find renters for our house, move in with my in-laws. Did that for a couple years. It was starting from scratch, and then I was like, it's now or never to get my foot in the door in Hollywood. How am I going to do that? How can I get my foot in the door in Hollywood? And I discovered that you can try and get onto a reality TV show by auditioning, particularly by sending in an audition tape. Like you can go online, send in your audition tape today. Maybe you just stream it or post it on YouTube. But you had to edit a tape and send, or just record a tape and send it in. And I had taught myself how to edit with home editing software, working on family movies of my daughter, my first child. And so I cut together a video and sent in edited tape, interview or audition tapes to about 9 or 10 different reality shows, Survivor, Big Brother, you name it. And I almost got on one. I literally made it to the final round of about 7,000 applicants and was on camera, interviewed. They do all those interviews and you see those interview bites with the reality contestants, etc. And then I get the call that I did not make the cut. It was the final cut. They were narrowing it down to their 16 or their 12, whatever the final number was, and I was in the final pool, and didn't make the cut, and I was like, oh man. So I was working a pizza job, selling pizza and Coke. Here I am, 35 years old, just to do something, and I'm like, what am I going to do? And so I called the casting director and I said, can you hire me? Do you have anything for a guy like me? And he's like, well, I'm up for another job. That's the business. You go from job to job. It's like, I'm interviewing for another job on another show coming up. Call me back in a month. I call him back. He says, what do you want to do? What can you do? I'm like, anything, whatever you got. This is the casting department. It's the only contact. The only Hollywood phone number I had was a reality TV casting director. And so he says, well, all right, we'll come in on such a day. And I happened to have 2 days off from work, and this was the second day off from work, and I had to be at work the following day. And so I go in. He's like, all right, what you need to do is you need to take these papers, these application papers. It's a one sheet, and this Polaroid camera, and you need to go to parks or malls and look for children that are misbehaving, and then go up to their parents and ask them if they want to be on a reality TV show that will help them with their children's behavioral problems. In other words, you have to go up to people and say, do you want to display your poor parenting skills for the world to see? No, you don't say that, but that's exactly what it is. A TV show called Super Nanny was my first job in Hollywood. I became a field recruiter for Super Nanny, worse than a PA. You got to go just cold, walk up to parents. Creepy. You've been scoping out my children? What? Yeah, I mean, it was very, very difficult, but I was desperate to get my foot in the door, and I did that for like 2 weeks, and then once they had a few families ready to, they found a couple families that they thought these families are probably good enough to send to the executive producers at ABC, the production company, and then at ABC. So there's two sets. It's a company that does the show, and then ABC's the executives that kind of are the bosses. And they had this casting director that almost cast me on that reality show. It was based on the video I sent in. The edited video that I sent in is why I almost got on that show. And they remembered that, and they said, hey, we just interviewed these families on camera and got some bad behavior of the kids. Do you think you can edit this so we can give it to ABC? I'm like, heck yeah, if it means I don't have to go out and be a creeper and scoping out kids. Ugh. And they're like, so I took a whole weekend and cut two. Essentially, you're telling the story. This is our problem. These are our kids' behaviors. We need help, right? That's act one of any reality TV show. The problem. We need help. And I cut two tapes together. They sent them up the chain to the bosses. Both those families were approved, and they were like episode 1 and episode 2. And then the casting director came to me and said, you're going to do this from now on. They set me up in my own little edit bay with my own editing system that I brought from home. And they were bringing me tapes, and I was basically my own man, like sitting. The building that show was produced in is the Screen Actors Guild building. famous historic building in Mid-Wilshire in Hollywood, or downtown LA. I was like, I'm working in the Screen Actors Guild building I was like, I couldn't believe. And then like premiere night, when the show was premiering, the star of the show, Joe Frost, the super nanny, and the casting director and the supervising producer and I went down and had dinner at a restaurant. And I'm sitting there with Joe Frost and the two producers, just like, here I am. And it was just like my foot was in my toe, like my big toe was just wedged in the door. And I was the first credited casting editor ever in reality TV. And then I moved up to assistant editor and then union editor on Entertainment Tonight. That was my Emmy, Entertainment Tonight, for those of you who wonder. And it's been a roller coaster ride, but I've been able to sustain myself while my wife raised our children in an incredible neighborhood. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So now you know a little bit more about me. And there's so much more, but I am enjoying this journey, and I hope you're enjoying it with me. I'm going to post this tonight. I'm not going to put any clickbait title on it. I'll come up with something and post it, and just like it. If you've watched this far and you're not subscribed, I'm impressed. Why haven't you subscribed? Subscribe. And if you have anybody in your life that has a dream or is giving up on their dream, send this video to them, because I am living a dream. I mean, I'm suffering right now, but I still live in this amazing town. I still have this incredible project that's in development, and I have an explosion of YouTube friends. Seems like good things are happening. I think God is in control. Well, I don't think that. It's just patently obvious. So I really, really do appreciate you guys. If I had more time, I would just sit and read every comment and comment back. So don't think I'm not scanning through them, trying to catch them all. As the numbers grow, that'll be less and less possible. But I'm really enjoying this. And thanks for coming along and helping make it possible. Go to Patreon. Give me a little bit of money. It'll help. All right. Love you guys.